cardboard to get rid of.
Yeah, I have to have a fire. I love the color.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Today we are tackling a very big project, one that I am very excited about. We have been kind of battling the sun for a while now, and we are building a pergola here on our terrace, our balcony up here outside of our bedroom. We're gonna have a place that we can hang out in the shade. I'm so excited.
But I had no idea that we would be dealing with this many boxes. It looks a little bit overwhelming, although it's meant to be a simple one-day install, but I'm coming off of one of the worst weeks of being sick I've ever had. So I'm gonna take it easy. We're gonna call it a 3-day install, but we'll see how it goes. So I think like with every assembly project, even if it's an IKEA project, it's a little bit overwhelming at first. They do have an app and a PDF that you can kind of click through, as well as a video. It's a lot of pieces, but when you break down the steps, each step looks pretty simple. Again, it's meant to be DIY, so we'll see how it goes. I don't even know, but I think these are extra pieces.
Well, just save them somewhere.
I'm personally extremely excited about this because we've had just the most massive heat wave all summer. Quite frankly, it's kind of made things a little bit miserable to be outside. You try to time everything to avoid the sun, and that's not what it's meant to be like here. It's meant to be an enjoyable place all year round. But even without that heat wave, the sun here is just so harsh. So creating as much opportunities for shade to be able to be outside all day long and enjoy the view and the nice peace and serenity here, this is going to be a game changer. So it's really nice that they have this app to help you install it here, but I'm finding that things are not labeled very well, as the part I'm looking for is called, it's labeled as PN 2540, but then over here it's labeled as LB, RB, or this one is BB. This one I'm not even sure what that is. Based on the picture, I think it's this one.
So I've made an elephant. Besides, I just need to add the legs and arms.
Oh my goodness! Look how cute that is! Chloe, that's awesome!
When I added the trunk, it looked more like a boat boy, so I added the bow tie.
Yeah, he looks like a... Let me... No?
Whole thing needs to twist up.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
It's so easy to put the camera down and not admit to mistakes and all of that, but I did make a mistake here. Originally I had all of the columns kind of screwed to the wrong angle here, but we managed to put down cardboard to protect all of this, disassemble it, reassemble it, and now we have one section completed. This. Yep. I'm gonna walk it towards. The center of it.
Okay.
So there's two things that strike me as I'm building this. Number one is just how impressive the build quality on this. This is an aluminum pergola, and the way they've built it the quality that they put into it is really stunning. The other thing is just how infinitely easier it would be if we had space to assemble this, because our terrace is about 4.5 meters by 4.5 meters wide, and this is a 4 meter by 4 meter pergola, so there's no room for error or moving things around, and it's making the job just a little bit more difficult, and by that I think probably about 10 times more difficult. Okay. Now pick it up and walk back one step. All right, now see if you can pick it up and walk. Yep. All right, so the whole thing is gonna go like this. Okay. Oh. Yep. Okay, stabilize. All right, now switch spots. This is probably a very non-traditional way of installing this, but I just need some level of bracing and some level of belief that it's not going to topple over on us while we're hooking up the other piece. So I'm just tying it off to the roof beam here.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Can I just please learn how to tie a knot?
Oh gosh. I'm not like help you as much as I'd like to.
You got it? This right here is the perfect example of the thing that we've struggled with most on this property. It's just non-stop moving things back and forth, just because it's so small. There's no space on the terraces. Here's my life advice. If you ever build a house, first build a barn.
Yes.
With lots of space, and then work on the house.
Except we can't really build a barn here, so there's not really room for a barn either. What?
Keep going. Okay, so the ladder is going to be both the brace for when we put the crossbeam across as well. So I'm going to tie this thing to the ladder to keep it from falling off the edge. It doesn't need much. Like, there's just a gentle breeze going on right now.
Yeah, it really is. It does feel generally stable. It's just
to be safe.
Could just with enough wind get pushed over.
All right, is that straight up and down, more or less?
More or less.
All right, so walk your end around all the way. This stage, as we're tightening everything up, is a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest, particularly as on every edge there is a drop-off. But once we get the last few screws in on this side, it should solidify everything together. But just look and appreciate for a second just how awesome this thing is going to look. All right. Thought it was a lovely idea to have the ladder be the brace. So, now I can't. Now it's stuck. I think I can lift the whole thing.
What?
Can you move the ladder out of the way?
Oh my gosh. Can I?
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Oh, here, it's going down there. There we go. Okay. Reach that. Any further? I'm like in love with this already. I can imagine what it's gonna be like. I was a bit nervous that this was gonna feel a little bit closed off, but seeing this view with the window kind of being like framed by this is really, really cool. I'm loving it. It makes it even more beautiful.
I'm also really loving the color of the aluminum against the stone. I really think that it adds quite a lot right there. But as I mentioned from the beginning, even though this is meant to be a one-day install, I'm gonna take a couple of days. I'm still coming back online from being out last week. So I'm exhausted, even though it's probably just noon right now. If we pick things back up tomorrow morning, we can be back working in the shade. Well, pardon the brief interruption, but allow me a brief minute to tell you about today's video sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me is a hands-free service that goes out and removes your information from hundreds of data brokers and people search sites, reducing the risk of your personal information getting into the wrong hands. Unfortunately, data brokers can legally collect all kinds of personal information, things like your name, your home address, your personal phone number, package up all of this information and sell it to whoever might want it, which can significantly increase your risk of identity theft, scams, and phishing attempts. Scams and phishing attempts in particular have been getting more and more sophisticated, and it can be hard to tell what's real. So one of the easiest ways to protect yourself is to prevent this information from getting out there to begin with, and that's where Delete Me comes in. When you sign up for Delete Me, within 7 days, you'll get a privacy report showing where all of your personal information is left public, and then Delete Me will work on your behalf to have this information removed. Delete Me has been in this business for over 15 years now and was recently named by Wirecutter as the #1 data removal service. And we've personally been trusting them for over 2 years now to handle our personal information. So if you're ready to also join Delete Me, you can go to joindeleteme.com/Voyagers to get 20% off, or you can scan the QR code on screen now, or simply enter the coupon code Voyagers at checkout. But with that, thank you so much to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. Well, good morning to what is a beautiful morning. Feeling a lot better. I think I'm finally getting on my feet after that nastiness of being sick for so long. But today I'm kind of coming out here and dreaming about future projects. I thought I'd share some of them with you. Number one, what in the world are we going to be doing with all of these giant stones? We have the most obnoxious pile of giant stones. Some of these stones weigh, I don't even know, probably 1,000 pounds, especially this one over here. And again, just look at all of these giant boulders. But this one in particular, this guy right here, probably weighs several tons. That's just insane. Well, they've all been saved for a project that I'm really excited to start. Actually, something that we've been trying to start for going on a year now, just waiting on scheduling as well as weather. It's a project that I wish we could have done a long time ago because it would give us a lot of access to the rest of our property. So the land here obviously sits on very steep terraces. Actually, the majority of the property the kids have never seen, as it's simply too steep to access. And about a year and a half ago, unfortunately, with some digging that we were doing with Andrea, we had to store some dirt temporarily, and the only place that we could put it realistically blocked access to the entire bottom half of the property. So unfortunately, we took what was a gentle slope and the ability to walk down to this level. This is where we built the fence for the kids, and over there's a playground for them. And unfortunately, it's turned into, and it's kind of hard to tell on camera, just a super steep slope. Far too steep for the kids to go up and down. I can get them up and down sort of if I go with them, but it's just a little sketchy. Fixing it requires bringing all of those stones down, excavating out a path for it, digging out a foundation, and then stacking those giant boulders on top of them and kind of cementing them all together with concrete. That's going to be an impressive undertaking. Number one, just to even see how Andrea is able to get his excavator down to that level, considering people can't hardly climb down there because it's so steep, but he says there's nothing to worry about. He's done many projects like this before, and I'm really anxious both to see how he does it, but also to give a nice road and a nice path down to the second half of our property so the kids can get back down there and play. So then all of the really giant boulders become the foundation. You dig out, you set those down in there as the foundation, and then all of the smaller boulders you stack on top of them by, I think, wrapping a strap or a chain around it and stacking them one on top of each other, and eventually building up a retaining wall where we can then shift and place the dirt to a nice gradual slope down. And we should be able to get tractors down there someday in case we want to start doing farming or have animals down there or whatever. I just want to have options for the future, but primarily give the kids back their access to the playground. All right, so now that we have the structure up and in place, move these boxes out of the way. It's time to move on to the exciting stuff like hanging the lights. Yes, there's LED lights that wrap around the top portion of this, as well as hanging up the louvers. So all of these boxes behind me are for motorized louvers. So you can have a complete closed pergola, or with a press of a remote, you can open them up and have light come in. This whole pergola is a little bit too fancy for me, but I'm super excited for it. So the company that makes this pergola is called Pergolux. They're based in Norway, so they have a beautiful Nordic design, but the manufacturing, I believe, is done in Germany, so you've got that German engineering. This is something we never thought we'd be able to install here, but it wasn't until somebody who watches our videos reached out to us, said, "We love your videos. I work for Pergolux, and I'd love to give you guys one of these units," which just kind of blows my mind and fills me with gratitude. This is the top of the line, best Pergolux brand you can buy out there. These things are built to last. I'll tell you more about it later on, but for now, it's time to get back at it. All right, so the LEDs should be pretty straightforward. There's an aluminum channel that runs around the perimeter, just slots into that, and then they all kind of daisy chain together and then plug into the control unit that has the receiver for the remote, which also controls the motorized louvers, whatever that word is. All right, so now that the LEDs are installed, I'm just hooking up this power strip and the control unit. The whole thing is actually pretty simple. This is an antenna. You just hook up a splitter, connect all of the wires. And then while I'm up here, I want to show you this gutter system. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's a little bit of a hole back there, and that's because all of these on the edges here are gutters. So with it being a louvered pergola, you might wonder what happens when it rains. Well, all of that water gets collected in a watertight system that's kind of ingenious and runs off into gutters along the beams and then down the columns and out away from the feet, rather than dripping through on you while you're sitting underneath the pergola. So the entire thing is completely watertight. Actually, the entire process has been super easy. It's just the PDF instructions that were pretty terrible, to be honest, yesterday morning. That caused a fair bit of frustration. But then last night I found a YouTube video on their YouTube channel that just takes you through step-by-step everything, and realize it actually is a very simple installation process. Another win for YouTube. All right, so it's time to install the motor. This linear actuator will be the guy that kind of opens up the louvers and closes them. All right, so now for the fun part. We've got 25 louvers to install, clip in, and then hook up to the motor.
I can't get the thingy to sit right and get underneath.
So already, even though it's a cloudy day, you can see how big of a difference it's gonna make. It's actually gonna be pretty nice, especially in the evenings. And then we got the lights turned on. We're hooked up.
Whoa! Look at that!
Isn't that cool, kiddo? Man, this is so cool.
It's amazing!
It's going to be really nice, especially once we have that remote hooked up and the motors to where on an overcast day like today, you can open them up and let the light in. Or if you just want full shade, block it all out.
I like the shade. It's nice. We have so much sun on this property. I can already see where the sun would normally be encroaching on the balcony. And it's shade. It's a lot of shade. I'm excited.
It's completely waterproof, so we can set up like outdoor furniture here and never have to worry at all about rain. You don't have to cover it. You can just leave it here.
I'm excited, and we do have some of our outdoor furniture that's in the living room right now, so we can move it out here and have a nice outdoor living space.
And then finally, the color is just perfect. It's such a timeless design. It works if you have a modern house or even on a historic home like this. I could see you mounting it against a brick wall, but I love the look of this dark gray, almost black against the stone. As we've been working, we've just been tossing all of our trash overboard, and look at this disaster. It's such a mess. We'll have to scoop all of this up, get rid of all of it. Later tonight, I'll show you the actual perspective from away from the house, looking back, because it looks very, very good.
What do you think?
Look at this.
And also we'll eventually can also like make them
open it up and let the sunshine in, yeah. All right, now for the tedious part. Each of these louvers have to be screwed into a bracket that all kind of connects them together to that motor arm. So as the linear actuator moves, all the louvers open and close, which means 26, 25 screws to put in. Well, this is just too cool. You can have it completely open as it is now, which I love the look of. I love having the zebra stripe patterns on the ground here with the shade and having the natural light come in. But if you want complete shade, all it is a press of a button, and then these guys close automatically until it's completely watertight. So just with a press of a button, we now have a watertight roof. So not only do you have full shade, but you can leave out your furniture here without worrying about getting wet. It is completely 100% watertight. So there's no visible gutter anywhere, but you're not going to have water splashing off, dripping off the side edges, and then splashing onto you, which is really kind of an ingenious setup here. I still need to install this guy, but I'm going to take a break because Heather needs me to do a little bit of work on the inside of the house. We decided to do something a little bit unique. So originally we were planning to put our microwave inside this cabinet, and we built it exactly for that, so the right dimensions and everything. But we've been loving using that whole thing as a pantry, and yes, of course, we will put doors and stuff to cover it all up. So instead of placing it there, we've decided to actually put it underneath the island, which is a little bit different, but I think it would be kind of nice to have the pull-down microwave right here.
And it'll be really nice to have it off the countertop and give me that extra space for prepping food and stuff. So.
And it makes Heather happy.
It does make me happy, but it doesn't take much to make me happy.
That's true. So my dad taught me this trick when he was here helping out. That's perfect for a situation like this. Now, usually, if I use a spade bit like this, or whatever this thing is called, I'll just drill all the way through from one side to the other, and you end up blowing out on one side and it looking really nasty. And have that tip break through and then switch to the other side, then you get a clean end on both sides. From this point, the electrician will come back and take over because we've got just a temporary wiring setup for the dishwasher to make it work, but I'm going to rewire that into the new outlets that I just placed, and then daisy chain off of that for the microwave. All right, so today we're connecting power to the outdoor kitchen, which suddenly I'm a bit nervous about because I've never tested this line. We buried a plastic conduit line from the outdoor kitchen to the main electrical connection. What do you call it? It's a panzetto in Italian, but it's a manhole in English, I guess, where we connect everything to the inside of the house. But I've never tested the run. Meaning I've never tested it to see if that plastic conduit lasted through all of our excavation and driving the excavator back and forth over top of it. We did cover everything in sand, but I wish these tubes were just a little bit stronger. Plus, the manhole outside of the house got filled up with sand and debris and clay, so there could be a blockage on the other side, but I guess we're about to find out. Well, it's not terribly surprising at all, but it's gotten stuck right at where I think is the exit point into here. I'm gonna try to suck out any sand or debris and hope for the best. Yeah, there we go. I just turned the shop vac back on and it wouldn't work, and I realized that it's completely full of water. All of that water was sitting inside of that 4-centimeter tube, and there's still more in there.
Ma te li regalano questi? Questo è vero? Bello.
Sì. Okay, bye.
Oh, porco giù.
Fai da là.
Pensavo che era lì dove mi avevi dato in mano, è per quello che la tenevo. Vai. Ok!
Topi fili. Ok, buono, buono. Ancora un po'.
Un po'. Vai.
Ok, a posto. Ah, no!
Staccato.
Sì, ma quasi arrivato.
Aspetta.
Se ne è legato.
Vai.
Okay, buona, buona, buona. And just like that, all of our electricity for the outdoor kitchen is hooked up. We've got quite a few lines here. I'm not even sure what all of these are. We do have a few expansion lines for the future, such as to turn on and off the fountain, some lights, and a ventilator. But all of these wires are hooked up. We've got all of our outlets hooked up and ready to go. All right, lastly, we need to run a wire up here to power the pergola. I put this tube in like day one when we were building this room out, Not even sure what we're going to use it for, just knowing that someday I'm going to want power on top of this terrace here. And today it's coming in handy for powering the pergola, and then we'll probably have a splitter to be able to, you know, if you need whatever, electricity on top of your terrace. I don't know what for, but I'm sure it'll come in handy. Well, it turns out this tube that I placed so long ago somehow never made it inside of the house, or it got blocked or something. I'm not sure what's going on. But we do have another pipe over here that we can use, and we've actually already done it off camera. We've managed to run a cable down behind the house into the central unit right there. And then now it's already hooked up. We did all of that off camera. But that's all temporarily. I do want to bring that line and dig underneath the terrace here in order to have that electrical wire popping up inside of the column. That way there's no visible cables at all, because obviously this mess is just kind of temporary. And they do have this pergola designed so that you can have it hardwired so that you have 0 visible cables. So there, I popped off this profile, and you can see that there is a small hole there that's designed to bring a cable up through, connect this to power, and then conceal it so that you don't see any visible cables. So this terrace has 3 layers of waterproofing, and I've just compromised 2 of them by drilling out a channel through what is approximately 5 centimeters of concrete that sits over top of the insulation. I've cut through the plastic, and then I've cut through also this top water sealant that I'm forgetting what it's called. So attempting basically just to add in 2 layers of waterproofing back in. Best idea I could have is make a waterproof basin at the bottom of the channel, and then once I cement over top of the pipe, I'll put another waterproof layer as well. So it's only been a couple of hours, but the cement's hard enough to go ahead and put the plastic coating over top of it. I'm not trying to rush through this or anything, but I do want to move the pergola into its final position, get it bolted down, and call this project wrapped up. But the waterproofing is obviously something that you can't skip out on. Ready?
Yep.
Set.
Over. Yep. Is that good?
Whew.
Did we do it?
The first try. All right, now you can see what we were working towards. We threaded that needle, just barely getting that into that opening, and then we'll be able to connect this and put the profile on it so that that wire will never be seen. Well, I could not be more thrilled with how this space has turned out, and I'm looking forward to spending the rest of the evening right here enjoying the view. But Pergolux asked if they could send us the Sundream and give us our honest feedback. They said if you don't like it, say so. So here's my honest feedback. I'll give three areas: ease of assembly, let's say the design, and the quality of build. Ease of assembly, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, only because the instructions were quite terrible. But the actual installation process was surprisingly simple. Building the whole pergola took maybe 8 hours, another hour and a half for the sunshade, which we haven't even shown yet. We'll show that in a second here. As far as the design, the Nordic design, I think is incredible. 10 out of 10. For build quality, I'd say 11 out of 10, 15 out of 10. I'm shocked by how well this thing is built. Super solid aluminum. It's built to last. There's a 10-year warranty on it. They really stand by their warranty. That's what's most important to me. How cool it looks, how durable it is, how long it'll last, and how easy it was to assemble. I didn't film the installation of this, but we also added on this side sunshade that you can pull down as the sun is setting, as it currently is, just to keep it out of your eyes. But honestly, just so filled with gratitude and the ability to add this to our home.
I am so excited to be able to just hang out on this balcony.
With that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.